Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Rachah Kadash for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach this truth. And Roel Wabrakatham unto the elect. This is the brother Gabar from the Great Millstone Dallas branch. All right. And Lord's will, this video is edifying. All right, this lesson is edifying to the elect. All right, and I want to go into this post. All right, and you can find this also. This is where I got it from. The beautiful brother. All right, Tazamai. All right, Soldier of Yahweh Yahushai is his YouTube channel. All right, you can go subscribe. All right, and view this. All right, as well. All right, and going into it. All right, this was posted July 14th, 2026. All right, it says Bill Gates says revolutionary digital ID will exclude non-compliant citizens from banking, healthcare, and education. All right, so Esau, all right, is moving forward with his NWO plans. All right, setting up, all right, his infrastructure, all right, to crown his enterprise with success, to complete this thing, to have full govern over the people, all right, to be inside of them. All right, we know where this is going. We know the prophecies, all right, which I'm going to grab a few precepts, all right, but we know that we're here, man. All right, we know we're here. We know we're at the end. Okay, so Yahweh Bashim Shai is getting ready to close this thing up. So we know that what we got to do to be prepared, okay, for the Lord, all right, do the work, all right. So I'll read this again and I'm going to grab some more precepts. It says Bill Gates says, all right, revolutionary. All right, because remember, this is what 4IR, all right, the fourth industrial revolution. All right, so it says revolutionary digital ID. And we know that they've been pushing that, all right, like overseas and stuff. But we know that that was coming here. All right, and we see how they're speaking. We know that they're setting this thing up in the year 2020. And ever since then, you know, people went even more online. All right, people were forced to be in their houses and stuff, even though, you know, a lot of people were still outside and stuff. But the world, all right, the system, you know, is changing. Less cash, more online. You know, this is what he wants because it's all is going somewhere to this revolutionary point, he says. Okay, but they're not going to be able to complete this revolution. All right, thus saith the Lord, man. It says digital ID would exclude, all right, non-compliant people that don't get down with this thing, don't take that thing, all right, citizens from banking, all right, you won't be able to buy and sell. Healthcare and education, right, you can't engage in commerce, man. All right, so we know we're here, man. All right, call Halal Yahweh Bashim Shai, because we know this is the straight gate. This is what has to happen for the kingdom of heaven to come, and that the Lord is going to take care of his elect in that time. All right, so real quick, let's get this, man. Job chapter 20 and verse 20 in KJV. Job chapter 20 and verse 22 in the KJV. In the fullness of his sufficiency, right? What he's trying to complete right now, we know we're at that time. He's trying to get to the fullness of his sufficiency, right? He shall be in straits, all right? Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, right? And going into that wicked, it goes into the working class, the laborer, the slave, you know, because, yeah, it's going to be an uprising. People are not going to regard their kings and princes, as the scriptures say in the book of 2nd Ezra. Okay? So it's going to get crazy out here. All right? We know the time of Jacob's trouble. You know, we're going through that door. All right? And we know we're there. All right? We see what's going on. Okay? So a lot of things are going to unfold as this end manifests to the full manifestation of the return of the son of Yahweh, Yahushai. Okay? Which is going to shake the earth. This is the biggest thing ever. This is the climax of the story, right? So it says in verse 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, man. So we got to remember that the Lord is going to come in that time, man. All right, now I want to get this in the GNT. If I can, there it is. All right, Job chapter 20, verse 22 in the GNT. At the height of their success, all the weight of misery will will crush them. Okay? So at the height, Salakia, at the height of this man's success, when everybody has taken that C-hip, man, except for the elect, of course, all right, but he thinks, he just has everything just about done, all right, and his system is going to be for sure just complete, and he's going to eat off of this, all right, he's going to thrive, and he's won. The Lord is going to return. All hell's going to break loose, all right, even before that, all right. It's going to be absolute madness, man, and everybody that has bowed down to the beast in his system has taken that, Revelation 13:16, which we'll grab. All right, everybody just taking that. They're going to suffer the judgment as well at the return of Yahushua Mashiach, as he's going to deliver the elect simultaneously. The wicked will be judged. And along with the wicked, all right, which the wicked is the Edomites, is the 2/3 of our people in the land of America. Okay, they're wicked. They follow after those demon gods, follow after Esau, and where he pushes everything except Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, which is wickedness. Okay. Now let's grab Luke chapter 17, verse 28. It says, likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But at the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, and it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. All right, let me read verse 29 again. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. All right, so we know that as they push this system and they get this thing going, they have the data centers. All right, and we know that the water problem that's going on with that, and how they openly said they don't regard their people in that matter. They don't care. So people are getting ready to suffer, man. All right, and then they're gonna pull this out. This C-hip. All right, you can't engage, even if you're a citizen, without this, or else you're just gonna be cut off. All right, and just not being able to buy and sell alone, that's death right there. Because what you gonna do? How you gonna, So you're gonna need Yahweh Shema Shai. Real quick, let me grab this. This is gonna sustain us, man. All right, Sirach 34:15 in the GNT. It says, people who fear the Lord are fortunate because they know where they can look for help. Right, when bad times fall. All right, people that fear the Lord, they have Yahweh Shema Shai. So this is our weapon, that the Lord is with us. All right, and we got to be with him. Okay. It says, verse 16, the Lord watches over those who love him, right? Psalm chapter 34, you fear the Lord, the angels are encamped round about you. All right, and the Lord loves those that dwell with wisdom. And the root of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. Okay. It says, he is their strong protection and firm support, right? And we know this to be true, man, through experience. All right. It says he shelters them from the heat, shades them from the noonday sun, and keeps them from stumbling and falling. He makes them cheerful and puts a sparkle in their eyes. He blesses them with life and health, right? We don't need Esau's health care, man. We have Yahweh Shema Shai. All right. Being cut off from this, it seemed like to the flesh, what are we going to do? But guess what? We got Yahweh Shema Shai. He's going to keep us from that time. All right, we're going to be taken care of, man, and it's going to be through faith. It ain't going to, it's nothing tangible, store up this and that. Even though, if you want to do that, that's cool. But it's Yahweh Shema Shai. Where you going to put this at? What you going to do? The Lord is going to be with us as he is with us now, man. All right, let's grab that in Revelation 13:16. It says, he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, all right, in their right hand or in their forehead, to receive that mark. All right. And we know that this digital ID is tied right into it, man. All right, so this stuff that's getting rolled out, all right, we know what's going on, and we know how much closer we are to the coming of Yahweh Shai. All right, we know we're here. We know we're right here, man, because this is what he's trying to use to complete, all right, this revolutionary, act that he's doing, or what he's calling, because it's gonna give him what? It's gonna give him more control of the people than ever. All right, to really control you. All right. And it's a judgment written for that, man, if you do that, because that's not God. That's not Yahweh. All right. He's saying that he's like the Most High. He's trying to be like the Most High through, his science and, this AI and all of this. All right. And what he's about to do, in the chaos that's here, because a lot of people are already suffering, but as well as coming, so that people do take this thing. As they already said that, well, people will be more willing to take it, in a like a crisis situation. Something like, C19 2020. All right. Which that forced people to be even more online, more digital. CBDC, central bank digital currency, man. This is what they're pushing. This is what everybody's going to be opt into by force of tribulation, disaster, And we know that this place is, the plagues are falling upon it from Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right. So, yeah, man, it's over. As he pushes further along, the faster he's meeting his end date. All right. So, Lord's will, this is edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Al Shai for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Until next time, Kamna Shalom.